Hey everybody, welcome back to Small Talk Japan. On this show, we talk about all things Japan in English. My name is Mitch. I'm here in studio with
Natsuki.
And we got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about how I hate Sony.
Nande, why?
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how Japan is eyeing, considering, thinking about joining NATO, but nobody told them that they're like not part of the North Atlantic.
NATO っていうのね. Okay. Go ahead.
And we're going to talk about how Japan is starting new. We're going to start doing festivals from this year. Mm-hmm. We're also going to talk about how, I don't know, the country shouldn't wear masks outside anymore, but they keep doing it. And finally, we'll talk about the man who was interviewed after marrying a Vocaloid. Roll that intro.
Sounds like fun.
I fucking hate Sony.
Why?
I hate Sony. Okay, so...
What happened?
So actually, it's not Sony's fault. It's actually Josh's fault. It's 100% Josh's fault. If Josh was a Japanese person, this would be simple. We're changing our camera systems from, let's not name those brands in case they want to become a sponsor someday, but some brands to a different brand called Sony.
Okay.
So we're just doing an ecosystem change. We're just going to go Sony. Okay? I got sick and tired of the brands that we were using. I got sick and tired of this is the production company I'm talking about, okay? I got sick and tired of like the visuals and like the depth of field and like the HDR and all that stuff. I was just like, nope, don't want to do it anymore. We're going to move over to Sony. Sony sensors are just really, really good. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Now, we need to buy camera bodies.
Okay.
Camera bodies have language settings. Most normal camera companies that aren't Sony, because Sony is so stupid about stuff like this, the camera companies just put a setting into the software where you choose your language.
Okay.
And it's usually like, Japanese, Chinese, English, French, Spanish, the major languages. So you basically cover the whole world with a little setting. Okay. Now, Sony is a fucker. So the cameras that are sold in Japan only have Japanese in them. And you cannot download additional languages and install them on the cameras. Seriously. So they are stuck being only for Japanese people.
マジで?
And the cameras that are sold in foreign countries, like let's say North America or Europe, they only have like English or French with no Japanese. And you cannot buy them and ship them to Japan.
Wow.
Because Sony's such an asshole. And here's why. Sony wants to control the pricing of domestic camera sales and foreign camera sales using language setting.
なるほど.
Which I'm thinking, I was actually thinking this morning as I was dealing with this frustration about consulting a lawyer to sue Sony over this. Because I actually think this is a discriminatory practice. I mean, can you imagine buying Windows in Japan and it being only Japanese? Like it's unfathomable, right? You just select your language and everything changes to your language. It's fucking 2022, right? But not Sony. Sony cameras are language locked. Now, older generation cameras used to have like a hack that you could buy them in Japan and kind of like hack into them a little bit and install your language and use them. But Sony got around that. There's no way to do that on the newer cameras. And so you're basically stuck with the language in the country that you bought it, which is so stupid, right? Now again, I'll get to the end of why this is all Josh's fault. But anyway, so let's just say that the cameras were purchased in North America, and they were shipped to a North American person or entity, and then those cameras need to be shipped to me.
So it's gonna come to you anyway.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna get myself some English cameras, but the problem here is not only does this incredibly wasteful practice, because think about this, these cameras were made in Japan, then shipped to North America, and then shipped to a third address in North America, and then they're going to be shipped right back to Japan. And why? For a fucking, 5-6 kilobyte download? That I could buy a domestic camera, which is exactly the same camera. Everything is exactly the same except for the language that's in the software that's installed on it. Okay. So think about the carbon waste. 1, that's incredible, right?
Yeah.
2, because of the weak dollar, it's incredibly expensive to do it this way. The weak yen, the strong dollar. And then finally, here's the kicker. In order to ship that kind of expensive camera to Japan in insurance. So we have two of them, okay?
Okay.
So they cost 100万 yen. So they're about buying power in Japan about $10,000, okay? How much do you think it costs to ship? And they're not that heavy. There's only the body. It's not the rest of the camera. All the other parts we'll buy here in Japan. Just the body, because that's the part that has the fucking language setting on it. Okay. Now, that just to ship those two components to Japan, the shipping costs. How much do you think it costs?
わかんない。5万ぐらい
It costs $550, which right now is like 8万 yen.
Oh.
Which is almost the cost of a one-way plane ticket from Japan to America.
Is that cheap?
Yeah, you can if you shop around, you can get a round trip price from Tokyo to certain places in America and back for about $1,500.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if you buy a one trip one way ticket, it's like $900. So that's like so close. You can ship a person, which is way more valuable than a fucking camera, right? Two large carry-on bags. Two large check-in bags and a carry-on bag and a personal item for almost the same price as this fucking little box. You see what you're doing to me, Sony? Just to get two fucking camera bodies here that have English setting on them. Now, every other normal, sane company out there, the cameras come with several languages already, or if they don't, you just download the language from the internet and install it, and it's done.
So you didn't know that they have no English until you buy it?
No. I knew this. That's why I had to buy it from North America.
Okay.
Right? This is so dumb.
Why don't you buy other stuff but not Sony?
Because we want that sensor. I hate you, Sony, but you made a really fucking good sensor. Your policies are shit, but you made a really, really good sensor. So we're buying the cameras. Unfortunately, with the stupid. Oh my god! And they always do shit like this. Sony came up with this proprietary. It means only Sony products. It's the bubble gum. The gum stick, look it up, Josh. It's like this. It's like a USB drive that they made in I think the 90s or 2000s, and you could use only in Sony. They made the Sony mini disc that you could only use in Sony products. All these things are only in Sony, and then they do all these anti-customer practices that are really, really bad. That's why everybody loves Sony, but they hate Sony. Have you found it yet? The chewing gum. Just put Sony USB chewing gum stick. And it should come up. It's just, man, I hate it. Anyway, so I was thinking this gotta be illegal because no, kind of. Just but Sony proprietary storage or something. Anyway, so I'm thinking about this. I'm like, not having English available in Japan is kind of discriminatory because they have customers from all over the world. So I'm just like, man, I wonder if I can sue those fuckers over this because that is so annoying. Anyway, so when all is said and done, if these cameras ever arrive here, not only is it going to cost me something like 25 to 30% more, okay, it also is incredibly dangerous because any point in this journey that these cameras have to come to get to me, if they're lost, stolen, damaged, they're gone. That's it. I'm just out of my money.
Okay, you sue Sony.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
It will be fun watching you.
Yeah, it might be fun. We'll keep updates on that. Have you found it yet? Yeah, we found it? It's okay. It's fine. Whatever.
I got you a good lawyer.
Do you have a good lawyer?
No.
Find me a good lawyer. I want to sue Sony. I'm serious. Fucking Jesus. I can't believe we have to do this shit.
I didn't know that.
Now, if my cameraman was a Japanese person, then it wouldn't be a problem because all the settings would just be in Japanese. But my cameraman's Josh. And although
technically I'm a Japanese person, but
If my cameraman was a hardware and software Japanese person,
I had to go to America to get my software download before.
Yeah, you got your software downloaded in the wrong country, my friend.
I'm a Sony product
with some other competitors' firmware. Anyway. So the problem with this is Josh knows how to read some Japanese, but all the technical words in the camera, right? Especially when you're on location, you're doing it really, really quickly. You can't afford to fuck anything up.
Right.
I could have him learn every single menu item in the entire camera, but that would cost me more in his time than it would just to ship them from America to come here, right?
Oh, okay. That's the reason why you hate Josh. I mean...
No, he hates me for other reasons.
Okay.
I don't hate Josh, but oh man, Sony, get your shit together. It's 2022. You should stop this incredibly racist practice of only having Japanese language in Japan. It's incredibly racist. Their competitors don't do this. Their competitors don't do this. You just fucking go into the language setting and choose your language, and all of a sudden your camera can be used by you no matter where you are. That seems logical, right? Jeez. Because like back in the day, they used to have problems with like, so when the yen was like really weak, for example, like people would come from abroad and on their vacation, they would buy cameras in Japan, or vice versa. When the yen was really strong, Japanese people would go to North America and buy cameras. They'd buy the cheaper option and then just change the language. And so that's why they're doing this. But guys, it's going to happen anyway. It's the global economy, man. Like it's going to happen. Like just get over it and do something positive for your fucking customers and not for your profit margins.
Yeah, it would be easy for them to do it, right?
Yeah, no, it's incredibly easy. I mean, I think it's actually probably harder for them to do what they're doing.
Right.
I mean, if they just made one product for all regions, that's easier. Like the iPhone. The iPhone comes in a box with nothing printed in it.
Right.
It's just a box with an iPhone in it. And you open it up and it says, welcome, yokoso, whatever the other languages are. Bonjour, what I fucking don't know. Right? And then he's like, choose your language. Apple, smart thinking, Sony, kind of dumb. Jesus Christ, stupid company.
If you're working for Sony, please comment.
The funny thing is this, the lenses, the sensors on the iPhone made from Sony.
Oh, really?
They win the sensor game. They do. They absolutely win the sensor game. I love their technology as a hardware. I wish they would stop making software and stop being like a consumer business. Because a lot of Japanese companies are anti-consumer. They really are. Nintendo, for example. Nintendo is so bad at customer service. Everything Nintendo does is their own little ecosystem. They never let you do... The Switch, for example, is basically an Android device. Why doesn't it have an OS that allows you to download Facebook or Messenger or something on it that you can use it as a tablet? There's no reason why it can't do that. It can. People do. They hack it. They do that. But Nintendo's like, no, this is only going to be a Nintendo. You cannot do anything that we don't want you to do. It's just anti-consumer behavior. And I don't like it. Anyway.
So Japan.
And there's more things to say about Nintendo, about like their online bullshit. Oh man, I don't want to get into it. Anyway.
Okay.
Natsuki, how are you?
Good. How are you?
You looking better? You losing weight or something?
I lost a little bit.
What's happening? Boyfriend?
No.
Cheating on your husband?
My little daughter
Yeah.
is very harsh to me these days. 厳しい.
Yeah, harsh.
Harsh to me these days. Like, mommy, you should wear makeup, or like, mommy, you can dress like that to pick me up. She starts saying that. She's only 2 years old.
Your 2-year-old is critiquing your fashion sense when you come to get her at daycare. Is that what she's saying?
Right.
Why?
Because
The other moms are hot moms?
no, I mean maybe I don't know. I don't really see the mothers. You know, I right now I'm not working, so I go there to pick her up like earlier than other mothers.
Yeah.
So I don't see other moms. Maybe hot. Maybe. Anyway, so yesterday I went to pick her up with my husband's shorts and t-shirts because I was really hot. And then she looked at me, my daughter looked at me like, you know, very strange way, like from up to down. Do you understand what I mean?
She checked you out. She did up and down on you.
Yeah, she did. And then you can't dress like that to come, she said.
Where's she getting this from? I mean, I approve of what she's saying because you, lady, hey, I was looking at a video of you like 5 years ago. I was like, Natsuki used to be so cute. Used to be. I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with you. But anyway, why is she saying this?
I don't know. She just like pretty dress. She doesn't like boyish style. Do you understand what I mean?
I see. She wants you to be like a princess or
yeah,
something.
she wants to be like a princess.
Dude, just come and pick her up in like Anayuki.
Yeah, she loves that.
And just see how she'll probably be super happy about that.
Me in the Yuki dress?
Try it.
No.
No? You want to do, what's her name? Lisa from Encanto? Is that her name? Lisa? Look, Google that. Lisa from Encanto. I think it's Lisa.
Encanto.
That's the one with the magic girls living in South America. Yeah. Is that her name? Yeah, you should do that, Lisa.
No.
She's literally my favorite Disney character of all time at this point.
It's like Luisa.
Luisa, is it?
I think so.
Whatever. I don't speak Spanish.
I haven't seen that movie.
It's really fucking good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's really, and there, if you have a really, really nice television, the fireworks scene is like crazy fucking beautiful.
Yeah, we have different name in Japanese, right? It's longer, much longer.
I think it's called Encanto.
No, it's a very long name. I cannot even remember. なんとかと魔法のなんとかとかそんな.
Yeah, you guys always have to go long in your names.
Right.
What is it, Josh? He can't read it. See, this is what the fucking Sony cameras.
No, I'm still looking it up. Hold on. But you're right, I can't read.
See, なんて書いてあるなんとかとなんとかの Go down,
Can
go
you make
down.
it small, bigger?
Go down.
What's going on?
Down, down.
It's down. That's
Down,
not the title.
down.
No.
もっと下。
That's
see,
it.
ミラベルと魔法だらけの家。It's longer. Encanto.
Yeah.
It's
Mira
Spanish.
Beru. Is that the name of their family name? I think it is.
That's the main character's name, I think.
Okay.
Is that?
Mirabelle.
I'm so bad with character names. I really am. Like I'll be watching a movie and I'll remember everybody by their face and what their roles are. But when people are like, you know that character so and so from that movie, I'm like, nope, no idea. Like I just don't remember character names.
You've seen the movie but can't remember the names.
Yeah, there's very few characters out there that I remember their names.
Like what? Anna?
Well, it's just the title character.
Okay.
Like if you ask me to name the characters in like I don't know Toy Story, aside from like Woody and Buzz, I'm like I can name what their product names are maybe, but I don't. I guess it's the same. Have you seen is the new Buzz Light movie out? Is it out in Japan?
Yeah, it's on theater, I guess.
Yeah, it's been banned in a lot of countries.
That makes me want to go see it even more.
Why?
Because there's like a slight. Like I think either lesbian or gay or something whatever.
Oh, really?
There's a kiss between I'm not sure if they're a couple, but between a same-sex pair of people, and then because of that, it got banned in a lot of countries.
You know what? If your God is so weak that he or she or whatever the fuck you believe in can't handle like two guys like kissing each other, maybe you picked the wrong God. Just throwing that out there. You know, maybe you picked the wrong God. Anyway, that's more reason to go see it. But the thing that I think that's really interesting about that movie is it's not Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. So Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story is the toy. Okay, the toy is based on a character in like movies and TV called Buzz Lightyear. So that's the character in the movie.
So behind the Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, not the toy. It's the actual character. Yeah. So
he looks different from the Buzz Lightyear.
because he's a person versus the toy.
I see.
But what really happened is that computer technology got way, way better. And it looks way better. Recently on Disney Plus, this has nothing to do with Japan, but I've been loving the shorts on the Pixar part. And there's one that's called... I think it's called Bernie, and it's like a short about a little robot that's like in WALL-E, and it's like the whole story of WALL-E told from a different robot's perspective in like 3 minutes. It's really funny.
Is the WALL-E is like the same robot that we had a movie long time ago?
Yeah. So it's like that movie's story, but from the perspective of a different robot.
I see.
It was really hilarious. Stuff like that. The shorts on that are really, really good. But you saw, what was it called? Red something? The Pixar movie? Not Red Notice, but...
When?
With your daughter.
Turning Red.
Yeah, that was fun. The lesser pandaness.
Yeah. Apparently that's a story about...
Chinese American?
Somebody told me it was a story about having your period.
Right.
Okay.
This movie also got a lot of backlash because they show things like pads and tampons in this.
So taboo.
Is it taboo?
No.
Well, I think it was like parents that are like, they don't want to explain it to their kids or
Here we go.
like that.
Here we go. This is something that I'm going to talk about with Japan. Okay, so this has nothing to do with news. We're going to get to that later. Manga and anime are they're illustrated, they're animated in Japan. They're not necessarily made for kids. Right? Why is it that Western media, whenever you get animated, it's like, this is a kid's movie because it's animated? Like, why is that assumption the norm? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we can have animated, adult-focused movies. Right?
Like Japan, right?
Like Japan.
Like Akira, things like that.
Evangelion or something like that. Why don't we have that in the West? Every time you get animated in the West, it's like, this is for kids because look at the colors.
Is The Simpsons for kids?
Even though The Simpsons and Family Guy is technically not made for kids, it's still, they make the balance knowing that kids are watching it.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? So they never go to Family Guy. Rick and Morty? Rick and Morty, I guess they're made for adults.
I would say like all of those shows, they're made for like young adults, which are still kind of considered in the kid range.
Yeah. The Doritos eating people.
Yeah.
Let's target them with these ads.
Yeah. So like, I think it just comes down to like, we don't have the studios in America that make animated things for adults, other than like South Park, I guess.
Love, Sex, Robots. Perfect example of animation, although they do outsource a lot of that to Japanese animation studios. But
yeah, that's why they just don't have the studios for it. I think.
Love, Sex, Robots is on Netflix. You don't do Netflix anymore, do you?
No.
Love, Sex, Robots.
I think it's called Love, Death,
Is
Robots.
it anime?
Whatever.
Is it animation?
Yeah, it's Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh, maybe I just
You
wanted
just
to replace
like
the
sex.
death with sex because it's more positive. Love, Death, Robots. It's very adult oriented.
Dirty?
Dirty and violent. Sometimes just beautiful and not at all violent. But mostly violent.
Oh. What do they do? Like robots fight each other?
Basically, Netflix gave a production company money. They spent that money to all these different animation studios.
Okay.
And then they said 3 words: Love, Death, Robots, which I'll remember from now on.
Love, Death, Robots.
And they said, make us an animated short. And that's it. They had no other directions. And then the animation studio just took that and just made a little story out of it, whatever they want to do. So there's like, every season's like 15 new little short movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to check it out.
Animatrix was geared towards adults. The Animatrix.
Animatrix. I have no idea.
Was a movie from like my childhood, so you guys weren't alive yet.
So people in the West don't watch like cartoons anymore when they grow up?
No, they do. They just expect them to be targeted towards children.
Okay.
So, like, if you see, like, I don't know, adult themes in a children's TV, children's movie, it's just, but the whole, I don't know. Whatever. I don't get it. Whatever. Like I said, if your God is so weak that you can't deal with a little bit of two boys and 2 girls kissing each other, maybe, you picked the wrong horse. Maybe you should get a different pony in that race. Okay, let's get to a little bit of Japanese news here. Okay, so Japan Prime Minister seeks major upgrade to NATO partnership after a Russian war, which it is a war. It's not a military function. Japan intends to upgrade its partnership with NATO, which, again, NATO, North Atlantic. Japan's not in the Atlantic Ocean, whatever. Let's see. So Kishida went to NATO and he told the gathering that Japan is seeking to update its own partnership document with NATO to boost cooperation in such areas as cyber and maritime security. Basically, Russian warships and Chinese warships are coming around Japan a lot these days and they don't like it and they shouldn't.
I'm kind of scary, so it's good we, get along with NATO countries.
Yeah, well, I think if you have like a free democracy and you believe in the rule of law, maybe we should all be friends.
What about Korean? Which side are they on?
Which side are they on? Korea and Japan and NATO countries have been in talks to increase security in Asia.
Right.
Because remember, like, you got Korea, who's like the free democracy, and you got North Korea, who's best in Korea, right?
Right.
And so they have like, I don't know what you can call their government. It's just an authoritarian government. It's not, they don't believe in anything. They're just, anyway. So here we go. Evacuation order lifted in Fukushima nuclear plant town after 11 years. So
finally.
11 years. Yeah, finally. So 11 years ago, which is actually kind of earlier than I thought.
Oh, really?
Well, because radiation stays, like for example, Chernobyl, you can't go there. They're not like, yeah, let's repopulate Chernobyl.
What happened? I mean, I know what happened in Chernobyl, but what they look like right now, like nothing.
There's a Netflix documentary about it, but there's like the ghost town.
Okay.
That's like been reclaimed by nature and like animals and stuff. And then there's this thing they're calling it the sarcophagus, which is this giant dome thing that they're building, like it's on a big track, and they're building it and pushing it over the plant to just cover it. Like when a dog poops or a cat poops, they just like cover it with dirt. That's what we're doing with this problem.
Have you ever been to the island named Gunkanjima in Nagasaki?
No, but you can't go there anymore.
Oh, no?
No, I don't think you can go there anymore. I think they banned, unless you have like some special guides with you.
Oh, really? I've been there like 10 years ago.
Throw in a picture of this, by the way, in the YouTube
when
version
they
of this,
burned.
the Wiki Commons picture of
Gunkanjima.
it used to be the most highly populated island or place in the world. It's basically this little tiny island off the coast of Nagasaki that had coal, was it? Coal. And they made an entire community on this tiny little island and mined into the island. And it was once during World War II, it was one of the most densely populated areas in the world. And then it ran out of coal, and then the community left and just abandoned it. And it's like...
Oh, I didn't know they banned going there.
So, yeah, maybe. Last time I checked, I think, like, you can't... Ipampi, like, if you're just, like, a normal person, you can't go there.
Really?
You need to have, like, a special guide or something. And even then, you're still banned from certain dangerous areas. Because it's all built on a hole, right? Because they mine down.
Right.
So the whole thing can collapse anytime.
Right, that's true.
But it is really interesting. We'll put pictures of it in the...
Yeah, ghost town.
Yeah. But they used to have... Because they moved all the miners there. And in typical Japanese fashion, they moved their families there. So there was a school... You know, they had like restaurants and stuff.
Like everywhere, apartments.
Yeah, it was crazy. Dude, guys, if you ever listen to 99PI, 99% Invisible, the newest episode, or maybe the second to the newest episode, is about these... they are now living in Korea again, near Seoul. But they're this community of ethnically Korean... people who before the war moved to a little island that's like a disputed island between what became a disputed island between Russia and Japan and Korea and everything, and they were there to do some sort of work. I forgot what it was. And then when the war broke out, they were kind of abandoned by Korea or something. I might have some of the details wrong about this. And then they were taken over by, I think, Japan, and then maybe taken over by Russia after the war. And so there's like ethnically Korean people who only speak Japanese and Russian, mostly Russian now, who are like abandoned by everybody on this island and then like allowed to come back to Korea, but they only speak Russian.
Wow, sounds like a movie story.
Yeah, it's like crazy. I didn't know about these people, but yeah, it's on I think it's on 99% Invisible.
Which countries they belong to? Russian? Japan?
Right, so that's the whole point of like, where do they belong? And so like if they choose to come back to Korea, they can come back to Korea and live there in like this little community that has Russian support and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
It's really interesting. But anyway, and then the older ones, when they came back to Korea, like, 60 years later, like it's a completely different place. Right. And so they don't even understand it's not what they remembered at all. It's a very interesting story.
Urashima Taro. Urashima Taro is a Japanese old fairy tale.
Yeah.
And then it's like, he gone to somewhere and then come back and everything changed.
Really? Josh, can you pull up the title of that episode really? So 99PI, it's about, I think, Russian speaking Koreans or something like that. But yeah, it's really, it makes you think about like, what is the, like, how do you figure out where you're from? What's it called?
It's 99% Invisible, episode 497, Hometown Village.
Yeah, check that out, guys. It was one of the most interesting. I love 99% Invisible, but it's one of the most interesting episodes that they have. But it makes you think, like, okay, so what equals somebody's home? Like, is it where you're ethnically, like, Japanese people come from Japan, so their DNA is Japanese? Does that make them Japanese? Is it your culture? Is it where you were raised? Like, what equals home for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a balance, I guess.
And so, like, for me, like, I've had this transition that, I use that word very carefully these days, but I had this transition from going from Las Vegas as America as being my home to, like, not feeling any connection to that place anymore. And this last time when I went home, we were talking about this in private a little bit, but, like, I moved my memory box from my house, my mom's house, to Japan. And to me, that was like uprooting. That was my last thing that I need to uproot and bring here to like completely commit to my life here. So yeah, so like this is home for me. And so like people ask me like, when you die, where do you want to be buried? I'm like, definitely not Las Vegas. So I'd probably just want to be, remembered here.
Why don't you separate your bones half to half? Like half Las Vegas, half Japan.
Because I just don't think Las Vegas has any sentimental meaning to me anymore. And, and that's another thing when I go back there, because it's such a developing city. It's like different every time. I'm like, what is this place? There's like some little memories of things that I used to remember, but it's all different.
Really? Like your elementary school? Junior high school?
So this last time I was there, I figured this was going to be my last trip. So I actually went and drove to my elementary school, my junior high school, and my high school. And, they were familiar, but very different as well. So I was
They look same, right?
No. My elementary school, they had demolished all the old buildings and made new buildings.
Oh, really?
So the only thing that looked even remotely similar was like nothing really. Just like the location of it. But everything on the inside was just all different.
What about your house?
My house, well, because I don't live there anymore. My stuff's not there. And some parents, they keep their kids' room. Yeah, not my mom, no. So there's just like nothing for me there. And every time I go there, it's like, it's just a different place. So anyway, getting back to our story. So this is like getting back to this story is like the Fukushima, the difficult to return zone in Okuma was the restrictions on re-entering that place was lifted the other day. And so people are making their way back home from, for the first time in 11 years. And a lot of these people like had to flee in the middle of the night. So their houses are just been exactly as they were back in, March 11th, 2011.
Just there.
Right. And so and they didn't have any time to get their photographs or anything. So, I mean, it's interesting. Anyway, the town, and the reason why they were able to do this is because there's this huge effort made to like decontaminate the area. They moved a lot of the topsoil off. They, I mean, Sojiki, to be honest, they just like washed a lot of it into the ocean. But they try to make it better. And it says the town government aims to have restored the population to 2,600 in 5 years, down from 11,500 people before the evacuation happened 11 years ago.
Good for them.
So, I mean, it's it's positive news. Japan. Okay, so this story is interesting. No one told Japan, apparently, but summertime is hot.
Yeah.
And apparently no one told the power companies.
What? No.
Because everybody is super surprised by the fact that it's freaking hot and everybody's using their air conditioning. And then all of a sudden Tokyo, TEPCO, and all these other electric companies are like, we don't have enough electricity, guys. Can you please chill? Like, don't use so much electricity, please. And it's just like...
I thought this is happening because of the war, but I read the news and it... Not nothing, but it's less related to the war.
No, okay, so there's two real reasons why this happened. One is because there was unusually hot weather in June. Okay, so that's one. We'll talk about why in a little bit later. And another thing is like in Fukushima, they have a natural gas, I think it is, power producing facility that they had to turn off for a little while, but then they turned it back on. But even then, because of the huge demand for electricity, they can't keep up. So this is like the first time in 7 years that they've had to do this. And here it is. A unit at the thermal power plant in the northeastern Japan was temporarily halted Thursday due to a technical problem as concerns remain over the power crunch in Tokyo and surrounding areas, with the capital seeing the highest June temperatures in nearly 150 years amid a continuing heat wave. So no one told Japan's power producing companies that summer is coming and that's going to be hot.
Are you telling us we are stupid?
Not you, them. What are they doing? Like, I mean, I don't know. Every part of the world has power company problems. I mean, Texas is a fucking mess. So it's like, it is an issue. But anyway, it's really hot.
But Japanese news stopped talking about COVID because of the heat and, less power, problem.
Yeah, you know what? Because nobody cares anymore.
Right.
Nobody gives a shit anymore. I just, you hear it every day. You're like, okay, this many thousand people got COVID, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, I have many.
What do you want me to do? It's been almost 3 years of this bullshit.
Yeah, I've been at home and I have a lot of time to watch TV and they keep saying same thing again and again.
So people tune it out. They don't care anymore.
Right.
So I've mentioned this in the podcast before. There's two endings to a pandemic. There's one, the actual scientific ending where the virus is no longer a threat to the population, which some argue is now because Omicron is much lighter than the original Alpha variant.
Okay.
And then two, the second ending that usually comes before the first ending is when the human population says, fuck it, and they just go back to their normal lives.
Good.
Hear that, everybody? Natsuki encourages you to say, fuck it, and go back to... And I'm serious. Like, I was in America, right, for a week, and everybody was normal there. And in Tokyo, people are kind of like, whatever. And like recently, people are now... I mean, that doesn't mean that I don't know people that aren't getting it. People are getting it, but they're just not dying of it. They get it, you know, because it's 90% of the population is vaccinated here. Chances of death is very low. We have medications for it, you know, that kind of thing. So
good. Summer festivals is going to be back.
Don't fucking ruin it. I'm going to get through it in a minute. Hold on. Wait. So getting on with the weather thing, okay?
Okay.
Rainy season ends in Tokyo, neighboring areas, earliest since 1951. Do you know anybody who was born? Your dad?
No, I mean, 1947.
So your dad, okay. The rainy season in Tokyo and neighboring areas in the Kanto, Koshin region in eastern and central Japan appears to have ended. The Japan, blah, 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 blah. The earliest finish to the period since data became available in 1951. Now, this is a problem, maybe, because Japan gets a lot of its water, it's fresh water during the rainy season. I mean, it's surprising how much fresh water this country has, considering how it's an island country in the middle of the ocean. And a lot of that water comes in during the rainy season. Right. And that people are worried that because the rainy season was much shorter this year and drier as well, that
shortest since
1951. Just read the news. Pay attention to me. You're sitting right next to me. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's hot. It's dry. Seems like there might be some change in the climate. Maybe something's happening with humans doing stuff.
I heard people who are living in New Zealand, they have no water, so they have like limited shower time.
Isn't that Australia?
No, New Zealand too.
Isn't it Australia? Did you go to Australia?
No.
Oh, that's the other high school people or whatever.
Yeah, it was New Zealand, but maybe same as Australia. So I was wondering if same thing will happen in Japan too.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't think you guys will give up your onsen and baths. Don't really think that we can. I don't think okay, so here's an example. Hometown Las Vegas, okay? California, Arizona, and Nevada all pull water from the Lake Mead Reservoir. Josh, can you pull up a picture and also put this in the podcast, hopefully a non-copyrighted version of Lake Mead, like current day.
What happened?
So we had Hoover Dam, which was created. The Colorado River was supposed to go, you know, it runs through there. The dam was made and it backed up, made this gigantic lake, huge lake. And it's weird because usually when you think of lakes, there are like trees around it and like nature. It's like death and dirt and nothing, and then all of a sudden this huge lake in the middle.
Why?
Well, because we wanted electricity for the world, or for mostly California, but so anyway. But anyway, so
whoa.
So they have you know, Josh, you could probably get away with finding like somebody's YouTube video of it and just like showing us like a current Lake Mead YouTube video. We'll just throw it in there and throw up the creator name on it.
Are we okay living in Earth?
No. Okay, so listen. So what happened in the last? So Hoover Dam was made during the Depression. So it's like 1930s. So for I don't know, almost 100 years, the Hoover Dam and like all the water from Lake Mead has just been supplying California and parts of Arizona and whatever. And then all of a sudden, Las Vegas went from being like 5 people to being 3 million people. And then the Lake Mead has gone down lowest in the ever since it was made. So I think it's down like a couple hundred feet. See the water line? It's like hundreds of feet down. And it's basically dangerous at this point because it's not actually a lake. It's like this like series of like shallow ponds and shit. And they keep pulling more and more water out of this lake. And they have no fucking plan to fix this problem.
What is going to happen? No water?
Well, yeah.
When do the people realize the problem?
Well, they're realizing it now. And the authority in Nevada is saying like, hey guys, maybe you guys shouldn't have green grass in your houses anymore. Like replace it with like rock art or something.
Because they're using water for sprinkler?
Yeah, which is stupid, right? Because you live in the fucking desert, guys, right?
Okay.
Another thing is like in Arizona, I don't know if you know this, but in Arizona, it's one of the largest lettuce producers in America.
Oh, really?
So what they did is they took the empty desert, they pumped in water from the Colorado River, and then they started sprinkling it on lettuce plants, and they grow lettuce in the middle of the desert. That's smart, guys. So the Colorado River used to go all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, and now it just stops in the middle of the desert, I think in the middle of Arizona somewhere.
No lettuce anymore.
No lettuce anymore. But like, it's just, Yeah, so we've gotten some suggestions on how to fix this. One, reducing water like usage, and then another one, the one that I like, which is the best so far that I like, is to go to make an aqueduct, which just means a human-made river from the Mississippi all the way over to the West Coast.
Where are those water come from? The human-made up dam.
It all comes from the Colorado River, which comes up from the Rockies and stuff. So northern places all have snow that melt and then go down into the oceans down south. You know how.
So they still have water from those mountains.
Yeah, no, the water still flows. It's just they're using too much of it. And anyway, one of the things that they say about the Mississippi River is that it's mostly unused and floods every year, which is actually just kind of a problem.
Okay.
So they're just like pump water from the Mississippi over to the West Coast states. But come on, guys.
Then you can still make lettuce then.
Is that the point here? I don't think we're learning the right morals from these stories. All right, talking about farming, high grain prices prompt Japan farmers to grow wheat rather than rice. So basically, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a little like kerfuffle happening in Ukraine. Ukraine is the largest producer of wheat and other things. They're basically the breadbasket of big parts of the world. So there's a reduction in that due to the conflict. Okay. So Japanese farmers, I didn't know this, but I learned this. The Japanese farmers over the last, few, maybe decade or two have actually, especially during COVID, have been producing too much rice. And currently 80% of the wheat, no, sorry, that's the wrong number, blah, 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 blah. Where is it? It says they're using something like, it says, in contrast, the consumption and price of rice in Japan are on the downward trend since fiscal year 1962, as dietary lifestyles diversify and population decreases. The coronavirus pandemic has further slashed consumption of rice due to the low demand from restaurants whose operating hours were restricted. So people are changing their diets and then going out less.
It's a good news, I guess.
So something like, it's good news. So then, so they're saying that like, So a lot of these farmers who would be making rice are going to plant wheat instead, and so we'll have locally grown Japanese wheat.
That's good.
Which is cool.
Because I feel sorry for the bakeries. They're having a hard time making their bread. Like they make a lot of bread and then they can't sell, which means they will be akaji red.
In the red. So. And then also, which I thought you were actually going to say not bakeries, but like barley is also a problem, and so that affects the price of beer and other grain alcohols as well.
Yeah.
So
So people need weed.
Yeah. Yep. 420 baby.
No. Wheat.
Guys, when she's on the radio locally, she's recorded for a reason. Can you imagine if we put you on live TV? Remember when I was on live TV? Just imagine you being on live TV. It would be hilarious. You would get your TV show banned so fast.
I will be fired so quickly.
I never said anything bad on accident on TV. One time during rehearsal only. Right? When I said Saidai Fuzoku instead of Saidai Fusoku, maximum wind speed is what I was trying to say, but I said maximum prostitution, which still sounds cool to me. I mean, honestly, we should have done with that.
Yeah. People need weed. Not wheat. No. Wheat.
Yeah, okay. Let's try again.
People need wheat, not weed.
People need wheat.
Not weed.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get off this. ANA reserves A380 super jumbo flights on Narita Honolulu routes. Woohoo! So there is a airplane, which is the largest double-decker jumbo jet there is for, what is the word?
Looks like a turtle one, right? No?
Thanks for ruining
shark?
it. Yep, a shark, turtle, those look the same. Anyway, it's called the Flying Honu, which is the Hawaiian word for turtle.
Oh, okay.
So it's a giant turtle.
Okay.
Anyways, if any of you guys have been raised in if you're under the age of 40, you probably never ridden in a jumbo jet before. Because now all flights, especially international flights, are 777s or 737s. but you never are in like an Airbus 380 or like a Boeing 747.
Why no jumbo jet anymore?
Okay, here we go.
There's
a YouTube video on this.
Okay.
But basically, what used to happen is it was called the hub and spoke system. So if I wanted to fly from Las Vegas to Kagoshima, I would take a little connector flight from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. LAX being the hub. And then me and a bunch of other 500, 600 people would all get on a giant jumbo jet. And then we'd all go from LAX to Narita.
Okay.
And then we'd all get on little connecting flights from there and then connect to our own little places where we're going.
Okay.
So that's how it used to work. And it still in some ways works that way. But that's not... And those jumbo jets that did like the between the two hubs, okay? The big jumps between the two hubs. Those jumbo jets would only fly like once or twice a day because they had so many people and they used so much fuel. Okay.
Like 2 stories in the airplane?
2 stories, yeah. With the lounge, the first class lounge upstairs where they had a bar and they could stand and walk around during the flight. Yeah, cool. Now, those became less popular because more people were more interested in direct flights.
Okay.
So instead of going Kagoshima, Narita, Los Angeles, and Los Angeles, Las Vegas, what people are more interested in is going from, like, for example, like Kagoshima to Vegas. Now, the demand for that is a lot lower than, Los Angeles to Narita. So they had to reduce the size of the airplane. So instead of having the hub and spoke thing, they have a lot more direct flights that have smaller airplanes. And also because airplanes are more efficient now, they can go a lot farther with smaller airplanes. And there's a bunch of other technical reasons and stuff like that, but that's basically what happened.
Okay. So, but we still have jumbo jet from Haneda to, Narita to Hawaii. It's because Japanese people love Hawaii?
Yes, because it makes sense because Tokyo is 15 million people. And of that, if you fly your jumbo jet once a day, right, you'll fill it with 500, 600 Japanese people. So
that people need.
Yeah, and most Japanese people, when they go, they'll spend like 3 to 5 days in Hawaii.
Right.
So what they'll do is they'll take all the Japanese people from Narita to Honolulu and then stay there for like 12 hours and then get all the returning Japanese people and come back and just keep doing that. So it makes sense.
Okay.
But it only makes sense to do that with 1 or 2 airplanes. It doesn't make sense to do that with a bunch of airplanes. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. So that's why that's the case.
I'm curious the inside of the jet, that jet.
Yeah, so one of the people quoted in the story says, "We've always wanted to go to Hawaii on Honu, that airplane." It says, "We want to take a lot of pictures there." It's cool, whatever.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like expensive.
Have you ever been on this jumbo jet, my friend from Hawaii?
I have been on a jumbo jet before.
Have you been on this?
How was it?
I don't think it was that
turtle-shaped one. The weird thing is about airplanes is like when you're on them, you don't know what they look like on the outside, really. So like. I rode the Pikachu jet the other day.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing.
Yeah, and I was like, and then I didn't even realize I was on the Pikachu jet until I got off of my jet, and I was on the Pikachu jet.
What, they don't decorate the interior with like Pikachu and stuff?
Shit, man.
Oh.
The only time that they do interior stuff is the IKEA trains that they had one in Osaka and they had one in Tokyo, where the interior of the train is all decked out with IKEA furniture. Like instead of normal chairs, it's like sofas and stuff. They do that every now and then. When they open an IKEA in Japan. Okay. Anyway, jumbo jets are cool. I wish we had more of them. Whatever. Next story. Relaxed new mask usage guidelines barely spread among Japanese public. Let me ask you a question, Natsuki. When you're outside, do you wear a mask?
If there are many people, yes. If there are not many people, I don't.
Okay. Good answer. That's exactly what the government said to do. But nobody is doing that unless you're like a rebel. Yeah, I don't know. When I was in Tokyo and walking around, like people like who aren't wearing a mask, they just like they're self-selecting. They're like the garu or like the hip hop crowd or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you don't see like a businessman like with no mask on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. How about you, Josh? How far away from the downtown area do you need to go before you take your mask off?
I'm always wearing my mask. At all times.
I think it's actually
when
become
when
like
I'm not at home.
I actually think it's been kind of like a what is it, a blankie to you in a way.
No, I hate wearing my mask.
But you always do it.
Just because like if I get sick, then there are a lot of things that will not function.
It would go wrong.
So I am just being overly cautious. So I'm always wearing my mask.
For example, if you need to drive car by yourself, do you still wear a mask?
Well, he can't drive. He can't read job. I'm kidding. I'm fucking around.
It's true, though.
No, he can't drive because his license expired, so he's got to go home and get it.
マジで?
Yeah. But when I ride in my wife's car,
Okay.
if she's driving, it's just the two of us, then I don't wear my
That's
mask.
such a passive way of saying when my wife drives me around.
That's true though.
Yeah, when my wife drives me around, I don't wear... No, but the thing is, like, if we're riding in a rent-a-car, I sometimes wear a mask still.
So I do timeshare. It's like a rental car, but people, like maybe 5 or 6 people will use it in a day. So it's like, if you think of that car as being a person, then that's like the whorest, sluttiest person. So like every time I get in there, I have like my disinfecting. I'm a germaphobe. So the pandemic has really just like justified my craziness. And so I use my disinfecting wipes to like wipe down all the surfaces that I'm touching. And then I give it to him. I'm like, you do it too.
So if I invite you to my home party, will you wear mask inside my house?
You probably won't go.
Oh, okay.
It depends. Like, if there's like an outdoor area, I'll probably not wear my mask while I'm outside while we're like eating and drinking stuff. But if we go inside, I'll put my mask on.
Good for you.
Well, okay. So I think it just comes down to like everybody's level of comfort and also what they're personally responsible for. For me, if I get COVID, I can sit in my house and basically function. No change.
Okay.
Josh needs to be at the places that he needs to work
Right.
at, and also he needs to be interacting with other people. So
Right.
if he's got COVID, he's just done for a week.
Let's see.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And also you don't want to bring it home to your wife and then, that kind of business as well.
Yeah.
So I told my staff, I said, y'all gonna get it. Just don't get it at the same time.
Separately.
Please, like one after another would be perfect.
Same as flu.
Well, no, I just don't get it if you can avoid it. But anyway, that's the government is confused why, even though they said, oh, you don't have to wear a mask outside, especially like if you're far away from other people are still wearing their mask. And the gist of the article is that people feel peer pressure to wear it. So even if they are in a situation where they can take it off, they still want to wear it. I don't want to talk about that. Okay, so I forgot his name. My man from several weeks ago, or maybe last week, who lost the USB stick that had all the people's names on it. Forgot his name, but my man. Do you know the story?
Yeah, I know the story. And then the man's name was on TV. I mean, on the public. I thought people were hiding his name.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just a guy from Amagasaki.
Yeah. Some company.
In Hyogo. It's not a company, it's a komuin でしょ?
No. Komuin, I mean, the city hall asked some company. And then the company person did this.
Oh, okay. So basically what happens, this dude, he had a USB flash drive that had, 460,000 residents' personal information on it, including their bank account and full names and stuff like that. He had it on a USB drive, and then he went to a bar. And I love the way that they say this in this story. Let me see. Let's see. After finishing the data transfer, the employee went out drinking alcohol. I mean, like, what else would he be drinking? If he went out drinking, like, what is he drinking? Like mineral water? What the fuck? The employee went out drinking alcohol for about 3 hours, which is bullshit. This guy was totally drinking until 3 o'clock in the morning. At a restaurant while carrying the USB storage device and fell asleep on the street on his way home. Nobody goes out and drinks for 3 hours and passes out in the street. That's fucking bullshit, okay? This dude went to some izakaya and his friends were like, let's go to a kabakura. And so they went to a kabakura and then they got drunk there and then they have to leave. So there's like a little horny and really drunk and they probably went to karaoke after that. Got fucking drunk at karaoke and then his friends went home and he's like, I'm going to walk home. I don't actually know if any of this is true. I'm just like, this is my imagination. Don't sue me for defamation. And then he passed out in the street.
In front of the mansion, でしょ? In front of the apartment.
Anyway, the good thing about this is from the morning of June 24th, about 30 police officers cut down. They had everybody on the case. Searched while the employees wrote he might have taken from the restaurant, which doesn't include all the other places he probably went to. They found the bag with the device inside at noon in the apartment compound about 1 kilometer from the restaurant.
This kind of news is happening everywhere in Japan, but so embarrassing. Like one of my friends did the same thing, but he was carrying the computer from the company, and then he was not supposed to get it out from the company.
He wasn't supposed to take it home.
Yeah. And so he went anyway. So he went some bars and, come home with no PC. And then his wife realized it, and then his wife was sober, so she went to the bars that he went and then pick it up for him.
Good on the wife.
Yeah.
Where's your PC? No, I'm going to bed. Okay, I'll take care of this.
So,
nice wife. Good wife.
Yeah, but sounds...
So home dude from Hyogo needed a wife like that.
Yeah. 本当によ. Sounds quite embarrassing.
Well, this guy, he passed out in front of his apartment, so like the wife didn't even have a chance if he had.
No, because she could have been like, where are you? Like, why aren't you home?
And then the bag and USB was there, no one taken it.
Yeah, I mean, like, why would you take a bag? Like, the worst case scenario, you open up the bag, you look for money. If it's not in there, you just leave the bag. What the fuck are you gonna do with some salaryman's bag?
Maybe some, wallet.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you would take that, but you wouldn't take the USB stick or the bag itself.
Right.
Like, that's not valuable. Anyway, so getting on to a much more positive topic. Women and girls in Japan turn to apps to fight gropers on trains. So this is fun. Can you pull up the picture of this one from this link? So this is from the Asahi Shimbun. So a teenage girl raised her hand, clutching a smartphone over the heads of passengers around her on a train in Tokyo in mid-April. The text on her phone screen read, "A groping incident is occurring here. Please help me." So if you can find it's one of the Asahi Shimbun one. I think it's the first link. So what this is an app that if you're on a train and you're a woman and some guy is touching you, you can just like push a button on your smartphone and hold it above your head like that. And it says that somebody's groping you, please help me. So then what happened was, after seeing the man... It says, after seeing that a man near her was noticing the smartphone's message, she used the audio function on the app to have her app phone state the words, "Please stop, yamete kudasai." This caught the attention of another passenger who asked the man who was groping the girl, "What are you doing?" "Nani shitteru no, omae." I'm just guessing. I have no idea what they actually said. The groper got off the train at a nearby station along with the girl and other passengers who assisted her. The groper was taken to police officers who had rushed to the station after the girl had called an emergency number.
What would you do if you find somebody is doing it? Will you help?
Yeah. No, Natsuki, I'd just be like, "Oh, let's take a picture of this and post it on Instagram. Isn't that funny?" No, I'd fucking help, of course. No, that's the reason why these assholes do that shit, is because they think that no one's going to do anything. So you got to stand up to that bullshit. So if some poor girl, especially like some young girl or something like that's getting groped by an old man, one of the only things that would worry me is that in Japan, like if I detained him, for example, and like he got injured, that he can sue me afterwards. So they need to, I think, change the law a little bit so that if there's some crime happening and people step in to help, that you can't be sued afterwards. They need to change that. But that's all. Would you just sit there and be like, "Oh"?
No. But I might be confused. Like, what should I do? For a moment.
Panicked.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that he'd probably punch the guy.
Or kick.
Kick. You can't kick out of subway. There's no room.
Kick the ball.
Kick the ball. There's only one.
The singular ball.
Oh God! How many stories we got left? Just a few. Josh has got a thing. He's got to figure out his wedding stuff after this. All right. Japan looked to reboot summer festivals and fireworks after the pandemic hiatus. So a bunch of places in Japan are thinking, let's do firework celebrations because cool.
Sounds like fun.
I mean, dude, come on. If you're outside, if you're socially distanced, and everybody's gonna be wearing a mask anyway.
Right. Are you gonna go?
Well, I don't really go to festivals anyway. Dude, come on. I mean, like, once you've gone to like 1 or 2 or 50 festivals, I don't know. Maybe I'll go just because it's been like a long time and I should support the local community. They might do Ongyonsa this year.
Yeah, but I heard, Mikoshi is on the truck and then no like naked guy are like gathering together.
So what's the fucking point, guys? What's the fucking point? If you guys don't know what omikoshi is, it's basically a bunch of guys and sometimes girls, but the girls have different wear. They have different clothing. But the guys all get in fundoshi, which is like, It actually has a purpose. I didn't know this, but you know when you like work construction or like you lift heavy things, like they give you a back brace. Well, it's the same thing. Fundoshi is like this really, it's basically like a loincloth for men. But like the part that wraps around the lower back is like a supporter. So it acts as a back brace.
Oh,
so
I
you
didn't
don't
know
get
that.
injured in the event.
Oh.
And so what these guys do is they all, you know, you get like, I don't know, 20 or 30 of them. They all carry around these portable shrines. And they say, what is it, soya?
Soya.
And it's amazing because everybody packs in and they're spraying water on each other and drinking shochu or sake, or depending on where you are. And the best thing about these celebrations is when they have this huge crowd of people. And there's always one guy riding on the shrine, which I think he's got the best job because you're just riding.
Yeah, he's the top.
I can do that.
You might be falling down from the mikoshi.
Are you wishing that I'm getting hurt here? What's going on here?
No.
Anyway, so then that guy will sometimes be handed a baby. And they pick up the baby and everybody holds up the shrine and he says something and then they go, soya. And the baby's, of course, like completely losing his shit, just crying.
They are wishing for baby's health.
But the baby is just like crying because he's completely confused and this is probably the most chaotic thing that's ever happened to him in his entire life.
And then my niece doing it. I mean, you know, when she was baby.
Yeah. And so that, anyway, there's a lot more cultural stuff behind these kind of festivals that it's really not that important, but yeah. I mean, for this conversation, it's important, but not for this conversation. And so those kind of, those events are going to start up again.
Cool.
Court dismisses sex business firms damages claim over virus handout snub. Okay. So basically, during COVID, a lot of businesses got money to close. They're like, hey, Natsuki, you own a bar. Here's $2,000 this month. Why don't you just not open so we don't get a bunch of, you know, cases of corona? Makes sense, right?
Right.
I mean, because like the bar owners, they get money. Then there's no place for the drinkers to go, so they stay home. And, you know, it slows the spread of the virus. Now, what happened was that the sex industry got left out.
Oh, so the government didn't give them money?
Nope.
Oh, really?
And so it says, a Japanese court dismissed Thursday a damages lawsuit arguing the government's blanket exclusion of the sex industry from a cash handout program for pandemic-hit small companies violates the rights to equality guaranteed under the Constitution. In the lawsuit filed with the Tokyo District Court in September of 2020, a woman running a sex worker dispatching business, so Deri Heru-san, in Western Japan, demanded the payment of the benefits, as well as money totaling 4.4 million yen, so what's that, like $40,000, for having been discriminated against without reasonable grounds. But the court ruled that the government relief measure does not constitute discrimination without reasonable grounds. And it says, in the suit, the government argued that the sex industry is inherently unhealthy and that it was difficult to gain an understanding of why the industry should be eligible for the program.
I didn't know that.
So they're like, fuck you, sex industry. We're not giving you any money. Which I don't have an opinion about, but it's kind of funny.
But they still survive. So that means, you know, there are still customers, even we are under the, you know, COVID situation.
So, yeah, but think about this, right? I mean, like, we were just talking about this Natsuki bar. Don't want you to open so people don't spread the virus. Well, if you're a Deriheru dispatch place and this one girl is going to have relations, what did you call it? What did she call it? Activities, physical activities with like 20 guys a day. That's just like asking to make clusters of corona, right? So it might make sense for them to give that company money to not open. But this just goes back to like what we were talking about in other shows. Like the sex industry is kind of quasi-legal. It's kind of gray, right? And so, yeah. All right, 2 more stories, and then we'll let Josh go be a husband. Oh, that's so weird to say. First, we're going to go really quickly. Guess what, guys? The Olympics cost way more than everybody thought it was going to cost, and they didn't make a profit. Surprise. So everybody was like, oh, it's going to be cheaper because we don't have any audience members, and it's going to be really cheaper. No, because all the extra steps that they had to take for COVID made it more expensive, and therefore it was actually way more expensive. And because they didn't have all the customers, they didn't make up any tax revenue. So it was an all-around loss, is the summary of today's story about the Tokyo Olympic Games.
Does it say like how much they were over or what they were?
It does, but I've already thrown it.
Okay. We'll put the article in the description below if anybody wants to read it.
Yeah, I forgot. It's something like 20 or 30% over or something like that. And like basically, here's the thing, guys. No country in the history of the world has ever had a profitable Olympics. I mean, I don't actually know that, but every time you ever hear news about it, it's like, oh, Olympics are coming, and we bankrupted. Like,
so why people are happy about, having Olympics? Because, many tourists are coming?
Well, okay, so it might be good for local businesses, but the thing is like the taxpayer still has to pay for all the things that the government makes.
Right.
So like in Tokyo from the 1960 whatever Tokyo Olympics, there's still this giant highway that they made. That they're actually thinking about destroying it now. So, I mean, that stuff isn't free, right? I mean, unless you're in like those, I forgot where it was, one of the South American countries where they literally had slave labor. Did you find a profitable Olympics?
It says every single Olympics since the 1960 Olympics has gone over budget. Yep. So it's never profitable.
Well, it might be profitable on a GDP scale, but it's always over budget.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we'll be able to do this for like $5. And at the end, it's like, we need more money. That's how the government works. They always like low bid the first contract and then run out of money and then get more money. So anyway, no one's surprised by that. But that was the end of the Olympics. Congratulations, guys. Oh, it was so sad when I was in Narita 2 weeks ago. Like I passed by a airplane graveyard. Maybe it's just temporary storage. I don't know, but it was really sad. And they all said the same thing on these giant, like 777s. It's like Tokyo Olympics 2020.
That was sad.
On all of these planes, all of these parked and completely empty and unused planes. So I'm just like, oh.
It's still there.
Yeah. They're not Pikachu yet.
Did you take pictures?
No, because I was on the subway train. And it was like, whoa, into a tunnel. So I only saw it for a second. But I was just like, oh. But I didn't want to take a picture. Okay, here's the last story for today. And I'm going to get your take on this, Natsuki. Meeting the man who married his dream Vocaloid.
Okay.
So there's this guy named, I'm just going to summarize this. There's this guy named Akihiko. And his story is that he became a civil servant and then he was going to work and he got bullied. Okay. And
when he was little?
No, when he was an adult.
Okay.
Okay. So he joining the civil service in 2006, and it said he started getting bullied at his workplace because he was probably like super otaku.
Okay.
And he was probably working with like, guys, he's getting bullied, which is horrible. And then he lost his motivation and he stopped going to work. And then like he kind of got diagnosed with a adjustment disorder, probably depression, went on medical leave in March 2007. And so like he retreated into his room and he basically became hikikomori. And when he was younger, the thing that would always energize him was listening to anime music. If you've never heard anime music, it has a very specific style to it and it's very positive and upbeat always. And not always, but most of the time. And it was his energy for living, which I wonder what the Japanese is for that.
生きる力みたいな?
Maybe. 生きる力. Anyway, even though because he was in this depressive state, his listening to anime music and songs brought him no joy.
Okay.
And he actually considered, ending his life. Then he happened to see a Vocaloid by the name of what's her name?
Hatsune Miku.
Hatsune Miku. So we're going to call her Miku from now on.
Okay.
He happened to see Hatsune Miku singing Miracle Paint on a video hosting site. Okay, if you guys don't know who this is a anime character computer program called a Vocaloid, and she is completely software. And she's got these giant...
long hair.
What color is that? Aqua
Blue?
green?
Aqua green.
Pigtails that come down all the way to her feet.
She's worldwide famous, right? I saw her having a concert in the United States.
I gotta tell you this.
Okay.
You Japanese people.
Okay.
You gotta know something.
Okay.
Just because you see on TV like a gaijin who knows something about Japan doesn't mean that any other gaijin know what the fuck is going on with that guy.
Okay.
So when you guys like, oh, this happens on TV all the time. Like they'll go to like South America or Africa and they'll find this one guy who speaks Japanese and they'll just talk to him the whole time. And then every Japanese people are like, people in Africa speak Japanese. I'm like, no, that guy does.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So when you guys are like, I hear that this is really popular in America. It's like, no, they got like the 10 people who like this in America in a room together.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
And then keep on going. The news.
Anyway, maybe Hatsune Miku is actually really, Hatsune Miku is like maybe really popular. I have no idea.
Yeah, she is. She's worldwide famous.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe I'm out of the loop. But anyway. So in 2008, he heard her singing the song in a music video and liked the fact that her voice had no human component to it whatsoever because he was basically anti-human at that point because he was depressed.
Why is it become a news?
So then he got married to her. Now,
officially?
No. And this kind of made me think like I really missed out on a business opportunity here. He basically found an online website that like recognizes marriages between humans and characters, and you have to like fill out this online form and I'm assuming pay some money, and then they send you a fake marriage certificate.
What about Hatsune Miku? Hatsune Miku's right. She wants to marry with him?
Yeah, that software program that runs on the computer, her rights.
Yeah, I'm serious.
I know you're serious, that's why I like it. Well, if she was sentient, if she was actually like aware of what was going on, then I can understand that. But the company that owns her software probably is not happy about this story.
Yeah, so if this is happening, so many guys want to get married with Hatsune Miku, maybe.
Well, they all can because she's software, so you just copy her, right?
Also, they are sharing Hatsune Miku. That's
a weird concept. Let me think about that deeply for a moment. So is it polygamy? Are they all married to her? I don't know. Guys, comment below. Seriously, like
she doesn't want to marry with this guy, I guess.
Apparently, it's a term called fictosexual when you are sexually attracted to fictional characters.
Thank you.
The
more you know.
Yeah, I was wondering about Hatsune Miku's feeling. Not this guy.
But isn't the point here, and I could be assuming too much, I don't know this particular case and this particular guy, but isn't the general idea here that Hatsune Miku has no feeling on her own? That she's just an object, and so the person projects all of their feelings onto this object, and so they're really just kind of marrying their ideal person and not that character? Deep. Guys, comments. How do you feel about this?
But the guy doesn't trust human being anymore. That's why he got married with this, Vocaloid.
Yeah, he says, my Miku, he felt like no one had he said, he felt like no one had a one-on-one relationship that he felt like he had a one-on-one relationship that he had never experienced before. Miku was the only one who supported me when I was suffering the most, he said. She saved my life.
Okay. If he's happy, I'm happy for you. But if I were his mama, I don't know what I think.
I guess in a way, this is kind of like the cat from Kiki's delivery service that talks to Kiki and then helps her through her journey. But the difference is in Kiki's delivery service, the cat stops talking to Kiki because the cat could never actually talk at all. It was just Kiki's projection onto the cat. But in this case, the guy decided to not, well, I don't know this particular guy's case, but I shouldn't say anything about him. But in some of these cases, instead of like overcoming the challenge and going back to reality, they just stay in the fantasy.
Yeah, stay in the fantasy.
I don't know how I feel about this. Seriously, guys, if you have a comment about this, guys and girls at home, tell me, like.
Yeah, I hope but he's happy. That's good.
I mean, no. So, okay, on the one hand, like, if he was contemplating suicide and this situation saved him and it saved his life, good. But,
He cannot get over his, trauma.
Either that or he doesn't want to. I mean, like, when does it come out, is it a sickness or is it a choice?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I think it just comes down to how you feel about that. This is interesting. I'm serious. I mean, there's also the case of the guy that married his pillow of some character. I don't know, whatever.
He doesn't want to face the reality, maybe.
I saw a video it was an older video the other day of like a girl who thought that Justin Bieber's lyrics, all the girls, when he says like baby, baby and stuff like that, they're all her. So she thought that he was writing all these songs to her. And so she stalked him and found him. And she kept saying, here I am, baby. I found you. You can come get me now, kind of thing.
Scary.
So with... because we are literally like 1 foot out of being a chimpanzee. We're like not that far away from being a chimpanzee.
Okay.
With all this media and this creativity, all this art and stuff that we have every day that's surrounding us, it's confusing to some people. Like reality, the line blurs, right? So, and for some that's healthy and fine, right? You wouldn't call an artist who's crazy but making crazy good art a bad thing. Would just be like they're unique or they're eccentric. I don't know. Seriously, guys, let's end on this note. How do you guys feel about humans marrying inanimate characters, or maybe they are animate, or even more than that? What do you guys feel about other things like furries, for example, who actually want to become like an animal? Like how do you feel about this? And Josh, you want to say something? No, you're not gonna follow the furry comment with anything? No. My friend in Vegas, he went to Reno like a month ago, and he posted a photo with him and his family, like, because he didn't know this, but at the same time that he's at this hotel, the furry convention was there, and his kids are like hanging out with like all the furries and everything. Oh. Okay, guys, that's been our show. Natsuki, thank you.
Thank you, Mitch.
You look good.
Thank you.
Keep trying to please your daughter.
I will.
Please show up as Anna.
Blue dress.
Blue dress.
Okay, silver and blue dress. I can go to Nishimatsuya. I mean, there are only kids' dress, not adults. Okay.
Get it from Amazon or
Okay, I
Rakuten,
will.
whatever. So, our show today, guys. Thank you so much. Leave us a comment below with what you think about, everything, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Josh didn't do the outro, so let's do it again. All right, guys. But anyway, seriously, anything that we talked about today, we talked about a lot of shit. So especially if you guys have something to say about Sony, because I had some things about Sony. But anything that you guys want to talk about, leave us a comment. We got a lot of comments on the last video. It was really, really good. Love engagement. It gives us encouragement. Check out our Patreon if you haven't already. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.